The noise online hasn't stopped. Everyone is talking, debating, and taking sides. But before we dive too deep, let's slow down and ask, how did this all even begin? Because the truth is, this storm didn't appear out of thin air. It was built piece by piece. There were layers, receipts, evidence, and one undeniable moment that forced people to look up and pay attention. It all started with that one clip. Yes, the video Tasha K put out. It wasn't a joke, a random rumor, or a meme floating around without context. No, it was a direct hit, a spotlight aimed straight at Martell Holt. That post wasn't background noise. It was the loud siren that shook the internet, the kind of thing that makes timelines freeze. People were stunned. It was so intense, you could almost feel the air leave the room. That single post didn't just trend, it exploded like a truth bomb. Suddenly, fans weren't whispering, they were shouting, connecting dots, and demanding answers. And what did Martell do? He didn't own up to anything. He didn't admit wrongs. Instead, he went for his usual playbook: deny, deflect, and disrespect. But before we break down Martell's messy responses, we need to talk about someone else in this story, Melody, Cherie. Now here's the difference. With Melody, there wasn't any game playing, no smoke and mirrors. She didn't come with shade or gimmicks. She came with the truth. And truth isn't always pretty. It's raw, uncomfortable, sometimes painful, but it's also undeniable. When Melody went live, it wasn't for attention. It wasn't to bash. It was to protect herself and finally share what she had been carrying. She spoke about harassment. She spoke about stalking. She spoke about threats that had been hanging over her even though she and Martell were no longer together. Imagine being in her shoes for a moment. Think about what it takes for a woman to tell the world that the father of her children is still showing up uninvited, still following her around, still disturbing her peace long after their relationship ended. That's not just drama, that's fear, that's survival. And here's the part that cuts the deepest. Instead of everyone standing behind her, some people had the nerve to blame her. Let's pause here. How did we reach the point where a woman saying, "I don't feel safe," is brushed off like she's exaggerating? How do we respond with eye rolls and dismissive comments like, "She's doing too much"? That is the heart of this story, the disturbing way society questions victims before it questions the behavior of the person causing harm. Melody stood tall and said, "This man is harassing me." Instead of protecting her, people asked, well, what did she do to upset him? That mindset is toxic. That mindset is dangerous. And Martell? He leaned into it. He knows how to twist the narrative. Instead of addressing Tasha K like a man, instead of clearing his name with facts, he chose to send texts mocking Melody's clothes, yes, her clothes, when she showed up for court. Think about that. A man accused of harassment taking the time to joke about what a woman wore while standing in front of a judge. That alone shows you exactly where his head is at. No shame, no accountability, just humor at someone else's trauma. But then he tried to flip the story again. He claimed, "If I had really done something wrong, I'd be in jail." Let's be clear. Being fined $300 for harassing communication doesn't mean you're innocent. It means the system told you to stop. Melody is the one carrying the weight of that harassment every single day. And what did Martell do after all that? He walked right back into that same courthouse, as if nothing happened. No embarrassment, no change. And to make it worse, he wasn't alone. Enter Arionne Curry, the woman Martell once insulted and dismissed, calling her a peasant, but now uses as backup whenever he needs someone to stir the pot. She wasn't just standing quietly, she was right there in the middle of the chaos, yelling, trying to get under Melody's skin, and adding fuel to the fire. This wasn't random, this was planned, a tag team effort designed to intimidate. But Melody? She didn't flinch, she didn't scream back, she didn't flood Instagram with messy posts. Instead, she chose calm. She shared a rooftop photo, she shared a peaceful caption. No names, no clapbacks, just a simple message of healing. And sometimes silence is louder than any insult. Because here's the truth, when someone heals without fighting back, it terrifies the person who tried to break them. Melody's calm scared Martell. He knew she wasn't falling for his games anymore. He knew the mask he had been wearing was slipping, and the internet was watching him crumble in real time. Martell thought he could control the story, but truth doesn't bend to loud voices. The mask cracked even more when Melody brought out receipts, police reports, screenshots, public records. These weren't opinions, they were facts. And with every new receipt, Martell's excuses collapsed. But instead of reflecting, Martell pulled another stunt. He tried to play the victim. He sent Tasha K private videos of Melody crying, attempting to frame her as unstable. That wasn't concern, that wasn't context, that was manipulation. That's what abusers do. Push someone until they break, record the breakdown, and then weaponize it to say, "Look at her, not me." But the fans weren't buying it. They saw through the setup, the gaslighting, the fake concern. Martell kept posting selfies, trying to look unbothered. But those filtered photos screamed, "Pity me," louder than any caption. Meanwhile, Melody kept working. She focused on her businesses, her kids, her empire. She glowed, and that glow burned him. And let's not forget Arionne in all this. Her presence at the courthouse spoke volumes. Deep down, everyone knows her truth. She's been orbiting Martell for years, close enough to be used, never close enough to be chosen. He keeps her around as backup, not as a partner. And yet, she plays the role, even if it means being his attack dog. That's not love, that's desperation. See the pattern? Martell doesn't value women. Not Melody, not Arionne, not even the producers and hosts he's clashed with. Remember, he's disrespected Carlos King, the very man who gave him a platform. He's argued with castmates, dodged interview questions, and burned bridges everywhere he went. And still, some people defend him. Some even say Melody is just as toxic. But let's be honest, how twisted is that? How can anyone watch a woman face harassment and then ask what she did to deserve it? That kind of thinking is exactly why stories like this matter, because it's not just about a messy breakup. It's about how women are treated when they say, "Enough." This isn't reality TV drama for ratings. This is real life, real threats, real safety concerns. And when Martell downplays it, it doesn't erase what happened. It only shows how far someone will go to protect pride, even at the cost of hurting the same person they once promised to love. But here's the part Martell didn't see coming. The backlash grew bigger than him. His charm, his excuses, his smooth talk didn't work this time. Instead of sympathy, he got side eyes. Instead of fans defending him, people dug deeper. Old interviews resurfaced, old clips of him smirking at Melody's pain reappeared. Every smug grin, every dismissive comment, every shady excuse came back to haunt him. Meanwhile, Melody stayed steady. She didn't need to clap back. Her peace spoke louder than any rant. Her healing became her power, and Martell couldn't stand it. Because he had built his confidence on the belief that Melody would always be there, forgiving, waiting, playing along. He never imagined she'd walk away for good. But when she did, she didn't just leave, she soared. She didn't ask for permission, she didn't wait for approval. She found peace on her own terms. And every time she rises, it reminds him of the fall he caused. But this story goes beyond just Melody and Martell. It's about what happens when women speak up and no one listens. Melody had police reports, court documents, and her own testimony, yet still, some questioned her. That's the problem. Society tells women to speak, but when they do, they're doubted, shamed, or blamed. Martell admitted harassment in court. Yet days later, he was back outside the courthouse doing the same thing. No lessons learned, no boundaries respected. And that's what we need to understand. Some men don't want peace. They want control. And while Martell tried to mask his chaos with gym selfies and filtered smiles, Melody kept building. Her brand grew stronger. Her story reached headlines. And with each step forward, she reminded the world she wasn't broken, just done. That's the real story here. Not revenge, not pettiness, but letting go. Melody let go. Martell couldn't, and the world saw the difference in real time. So now, there's only one question left for everyone watching. When the truth finally stares you in the face, will you fight it, or will you face it? Martell chose to fight. Melody chose light. And the difference between the two couldn't be more clear. At the end of the day, this story is bigger than Martell Holt or Melody Cherie. It's about how far someone will go to protect their pride, even if it means hurting the very person they once claimed to love. And it's about how the world reacts when a woman stands up and says, "Enough is enough." Melody's choice to heal instead of fight back speaks louder than any insult Martell can throw. Her calm, her growth, and her silence tell us more than his excuses ever could. This isn't just reality TV drama. This is a lesson in accountability, respect, and listening when someone says they don't feel safe. Martell chose denial and games. Melody chose peace and light. And the contrast between those choices couldn't be more clear. So here's the question we're left with. When the truth shows itself, will you fight it or will you face it? Because sooner or later, every mask slips, every excuse falls apart, and the truth will always stand. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories everyone's talking about.